So, let's kick things off with a little reality check, folks. Relying on just videos or tutorials for studying is like trying to eat cereal with a fork, not the best idea. Seriously, you gotta dive into that material, engage with it, like it's your new favorite video game. Trust me, when it comes to effective exam prep, being an active participant is the name of the game. Now, let's talk about some juicy chapters that'll blow your mind. Think of the rise of nationalism in Europe as that epic plot twist in a movie, and nationalism in India as the sequel that everyone was waiting for. We're diving into historical events and key figures that'll make your head spin, in a good way. Seriously, no one wants to walk into a social studies exam without understanding these themes, or you might as well be writing your answers in invisible ink. Speaking of important moments in history, let's shine a spotlight on the anti-colonial movement and the non-cooperation movement led by none other than Mahatma Gandhi. These movements were like the Avengers of Indian history, uniting everyone against colonial rule and shaping national identity. No cap, these guys really knew how to throw a protest party. Now, the non-cooperation movement ran from 1921 to 1922, and let me tell you, it was like the ultimate team effort against the colonial authorities. Picture a bunch of people from all walks of life coming together, kind of like a TikTok dance challenge, but way more serious. Everyone brought their A game, leaving the British authorities wondering what hit them. And then came the civil disobedience movement, which was basically the sequel to the non-cooperation movement, where the strategy shifted gears. They added epic salt marches and non-violent resistance to their toolkit. It was like they upgraded from a bicycle to a superhero jetpack in their mission to bring the colonial powers down a notch.
But hold up.
Every superhero story has its challenges, right? Limitations in these movements revealed some weak spots, like misinterpretations among rural folks and a lack of unity among different religious communities. Think of it as trying to assemble IKEA furniture without the manual. Chaos was inevitable. These factors definitely put a damper on their effectiveness. Now, let's fast forward to the advent of mechanical printing in India. It was like switching from dial-up internet to high-speed Wi-Fi. No more handwritten manuscripts. Thanks to Portuguese missionaries in Goa, information spread like wildfire. You could almost hear the sound of ink hitting paper in excitement.
Religious Reformation?
Oh, that played a major role in the print media revolution too. Reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy were out here using newspapers to challenge orthodox views. It was like they set up a public debate on social media, everyone was invited to join in, and boy, did things get spicy. And then we had social reformers like Jyotirao Phule and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. These legends used print media to tackle caste inequalities and injustices. They were basically the original influencers, empowering the oppressed and promoting social change, one article at a time.
Talk about Abhauer Move.
Now, let's chat about soil erosion, not quite as fun as a TikTok dance, but important nonetheless. It can happen from water runoff and poor farming practices.
But fear not.
Techniques like contour plowing and terracing are here to save the day. It's like giving Mother Earth a little spa treatment. And speaking of saving the planet, let's get into forest and wildlife conservation. This is crucial in India as biodiversity is depleting quicker than your phone battery during a Netflix binge. Legislative measures like the Indian Wildlife Protection Act of 1972 are stepping up like heroes to protect our furry friends. Community involvement is like the secret sauce for effective conservation efforts. Just look at the Chipko movement. Local communities joined forces to hug trees and protect their environment. It's like the ultimate tree-hugging squad, proving that even small actions can lead to big changes. Alright, let's dig into different farming practices. We've got primitive subsistence, intensive subsistence, and commercial farming, each with their own quirky methods and land usage. Understanding these practices is a must for agricultural development. It's like leveling up in a farming simulator game. Now, cropping patterns are the real MVPs when it comes to determining what crops grow in which season, like the Rabi and Kharif seasons. Knowing these patterns is crucial for effective agricultural planning, or you might end up planting pumpkins in winter, and nobody wants that. Technological and institutional reforms in agriculture have come a long way since independence, like a glow-up for farms everywhere. These reforms, including the Green Revolution and comprehensive land development programs, have made farming more efficient, making your grandma's garden look like child's play. Let's not forget the relationship between manufacturing and agriculture. They're like peanut butter and jelly, or Netflix and popcorn. Agriculture provides the raw materials, while manufacturing churns out the machines that make farming easier. It's a beautiful symbiotic relationship. Industries come in all shapes and sizes, classified based on raw materials, ownership, and output volume. This classification is super useful for understanding the structure and contributions of various industries. Think of it as figuring out the best way to win at a giant game of industry bingo. But wait, there's a dark cloud on the horizon. Environmental degradation is a big deal, especially with industrial pollution rearing its ugly head. We need some serious measures to control air, water, and land pollution. If we don't, Mother Nature might just send us an eviction notice. Now, onto something that tickles the moral senses: power sharing. In a democracy, it's all about sharing the power cake among different groups to ensure everyone has a slice. After all, nobody likes that one friend who hogs all the pizza, right? Power sharing comes in all flavors, horizontal and vertical structures. It's like a tiered cake of authority involving various levels of government and social groups. Everyone gets to wear their party hats and have a say in matters. Let's take a moment for federalism, a fancy word that means dividing power between central and state governments. This glorious setup allows for local governance and helps embrace regional diversity. It's like letting each state have its own unique party theme. In the 1990s, decentralization efforts kicked in, making elections more regular and reserving seats for marginalized communities. Think of it as enhancing local governance and representation, making sure everyone gets a chance to show off their dance moves on the political floor. But here's where things get tricky. Even with local governments established, many representatives struggle to function effectively. It's like trying to play a video game with a broken controller. Historical power dynamics and revenue sharing issues make accountability and local decisions pretty difficult. Now, let's chat about gender representation in local governance. Spoiler alert, it's still pretty low, even with reforms aimed at empowering women. More political reservation and active participation are needed to give women their rightful place in the spotlight. Let's break down political parties. They're like a team made of three components: leaders, active members, and followers. Each one plays a vital role in making the party function. It's like the ultimate squad goal for political success. Now, political parties are not without their hiccups. They face some serious challenges, like a lack of internal democracy and the sneaky influence of money and muscle power in elections. It's like having a cheat code for candidate selection, which is just not cool. Reforming political parties is essential to making democracy better. Think of suggestions like internal constitutions and limited election funding as the cool updates you'd want for your favorite video game to enhance accountability and transparency. Now, while we love a good democratic party, the economic outcomes can sometimes lead to inequalities and persistent poverty. It's like finding out your online shopping cart is full of things you can't afford, a major bummer when you're trying to create a world of equal wealth distribution among citizens. But there's good news. Democratic governments promote social diversity. Think of them as the cool kids who don't let anyone get left out of the party. They prevent marginalization and ensure that everyone feels included. Historical examples, like Hitler's Germany, show us what happens when one group is ignored. Definitely not a vibe. Even with their quirks, democracies uphold citizens' dignity and freedom, allowing marginalized groups to voice their rights. It's like giving everyone a chance to show off their skills. Accountability is key for improvement and societal progress.
No one wants to be the kid who hogs the mic forever.
Basic services provided by the government are super important for growing the tertiary sector. Think of it as the backbone of society, holding everything together like that one dependable friend who carries all your snacks. When people's income groups start rising, they can afford more services, leading to a booming tertiary sector. We're talking personal trainers, fancy gyms, and all the lifestyle services you ever dreamed of. It's like the ultimate glow-up. And guess what? The emergence of new services, especially tech-based ones like the internet, has a massive impact on the growth of the tertiary sector. These innovations create job opportunities faster than you can say startup, and who doesn't love a cool job? Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of the credit sector in India. We've got the formal credit sector, which is like the responsible adult in the room, regulated by the government to ensure fair interest rates and prevent exploitation. This is the safety net we all need. And for those who lack collateral, self-help groups are the superheroes. They pool savings and lend to members, making economic empowerment a thing. It's like having a community-based Avengers team that reduces dependency on exploitative lenders. Finally, let's chat about globalization. This is the real deal for the Indian economy. Factors like technological advancements and the removal of trade barriers are making international trade happen faster than you can hit refresh on your social media feed.